This is what nobody tells you about getting older as a man. You become invisible. You walk into a room and nobody sees you. People listen, but nobody really hears you. You feel wanted by no one. Then one day, a young woman looks at you. And for a split second, you're not invisible anymore. It's just a look, just a smile. But you feel it in your bones. You want more. So you start changing, not all at once, just in small ways. You say what you think she wants to hear. You stop saying what matters to you. You stop living for yourself. You start living for her attention. Most men never see the moment it happens. By the time they do, they've already given up everything that made them real. This isn't advice, it's just the truth. You walk out of that first conversation and there's this weird energy in your chest. It's like the years drop away for a moment. You think, maybe I still have it. You start paying attention to things you used to ignore, what's trending, who she follows, what music plays in her car. You notice her world moves fast, all quick jokes and half-finished thoughts. The words are different, the rules feel new, so you try to keep up. You catch yourself changing the way you talk. Slang slides into your sentences, even when it feels wrong in your mouth. You laugh at references you barely understand because you want her to see you as fun, not just another old guy with stories she doesn't care about. You don't realize it at first. You think you're just being flexible, open-minded. You tell yourself it's good to change, to learn to evolve. But deep down, you know something's off. Every time you say something that isn't really yours, there's a little sting. You ignore it. You like the way she looks at you when you get it. It's a hit of something you haven't felt in a long time. But this is how it starts. This is how you begin to fade out of your own life. You start watching the shows she likes. You try her drinks even if you hate the taste. You scroll her social media, try to pick up the rhythm of how she texts, how she lives online. You don't talk about what matters to you anymore. The music that still gives you chills, the places you dream of seeing, the pain you carry in your chest every morning. You hide those things not out of shame, but out of fear. They'll make you old in her eyes. You trade your history for a seat at her table. You notice your wardrobe changes. A shirt you'd never wear if it weren't for her. A pair of shoes that feel wrong on your feet. You stand in front of the mirror and wonder who you're dressing for. You hope she'll notice, hope she'll say something. She usually does. You pretend you don't care. You care more than you want to admit. Your friends see it too. They joke about it, or maybe they don't say anything at all. You used to laugh with them, used to talk about things that felt real. Now you find yourself drifting during those conversations, half listening, waiting for a text. You know it's happening. You let it happen. You think this is the price of keeping up. But it's not keeping up. It's falling behind yourself. There's this silent bargain men make with themselves. If I can just be a little more like her world, maybe I'll get to keep feeling this alive. But you lose the very thing that drew her to you in the first place. You stop being a mystery. You stop being solid ground. She senses it maybe before you do. At first, she likes that you get it. She tells her friends, he's not like the other older guys. But after a while, something changes. You see it in her eyes, the way she stops asking your opinion about real things. You're fun, but you're not weight. You're easy, but you're not real. The truth is, she never wanted another version of herself. She wanted a man with stories she'd never heard, perspectives she couldn't Google, experiences that made her feel small and curious, not comfortable and in control. When you erase those edges, when you pretend you're 25 again, you give her nothing to reach for. You think you're connecting, but you're just dissolving. It sneaks up on you. You start skipping your favorite bar because it's not her vibe. You stop playing the music you love in your car. You pretend you've never heard of things that shaped you because you want to see her smile instead of her eyes glaze over. Every time you do this, you're telling yourself that your past, your culture, your real self doesn't matter. And it becomes a habit. You feel it in the little moments, choosing silence over honesty, going along instead of leading, laughing when you'd rather leave. One night you look at her, and you can't remember the last time you said something that was truly yours. You want to say something that matters about your father, about your first heartbreak, about how you really see the world. But the moment passes. You swallow it, afraid she'll lose interest. You know it's wrong, but you think if you just give it time, you'll win her over. She'll fall for you, the real you, eventually. But here's what really happens. The more you fade out of your own life, the less she wants to step into it. One day she'll look at you and you'll see it in her face. Respect has left the room. She won't say it out loud. She won't have to. You'll feel it in your gut. This isn't about being young or old. It's about being real. About holding on to your history, your voice, your place in the world, even when it's easier to trade it for a little attention. If you let yourself become a copy of her world, you'll lose both her interest and your own self-respect. You started off wanting to connect. You ended up alone in a room full of people wearing shoes that don't fit, telling stories that aren't yours, wondering when exactly you disappeared. And the saddest part is, she never even asked you to do it. It starts out simple. She calls, she texts, she vents. Bad day at work, roommate drama. Someone online made her feel small. You're there always. You listen. You tell yourself, this is how you get close. Maybe this is what love looks like in the beginning, being the one who picks up every time. You think you're getting somewhere. She tells you things she hasn't told anyone. You feel special, trusted. You want to help. You want to fix it for her, or at least let her know she's not alone. The calls get longer. The stories get heavier. Family fights, panic attacks, regrets from years ago. She's crying at 2 a.m., and you're wide awake, nodding, saying the things you think she needs to hear. You start to notice she's not asking about your day. She never asks about your work, your worries, your own darkness. You ignore it. You like feeling needed. You become the late-night therapist, the just want to hear your voice guy. You tell yourself this is what it means to be a grown man, steady patient, never too busy, never too tired. Your days start revolving around her moods. When she's up, you're up. When she's down, you brace yourself. You stop bringing your own problems into the conversation because hers always feel bigger. You stop sharing your truth because it feels selfish. Soon your life becomes a service window for her pain. She calls you drop what you're doing. You listen, you advise, you comfort. But deep down, you feel it, a growing emptiness. You're the safe place. You're the shelter from the storm. But you're never the storm. You see it most on the good days. When she's happy, she doesn't call. When things are going well, you barely hear from her. You start to realize you're not her man. You're her emotional landfill, a place to unload to get things off her chest, to feel lighter. Sometimes you wonder if she even knows your favorite food, your worst memory, your biggest fear. You've given her all your patience, all your time, all your understanding, but she hasn't asked for your soul. She just wants your ear. You start to feel resentful, but you push it down. You tell yourself she's been through a lot. You hope that one day, after enough tears and phone calls and late-night talks, she'll see what a good man you are. You hope she'll wake up and realize you were there the whole time, but that day never comes. Because this isn't love, it's emotional outsourcing. You realize you're her support system, her midnight lifeline, but you're never her first choice when she's celebrating. She saves her laughter, her best days, her wins for someone else. You want to pull back, but you can't. By now it's a habit. You wait for the phone to buzz. You keep space open for her storms. You find yourself giving advice you know she'll never take. Your own life starts to feel smaller. You cancel plans. You lose sleep. You start to resent her, but really you resent yourself for being so available, for hoping too much. It ends one of two ways. She meets someone who excites her, and you're suddenly too intense, too much, like a brother too good to lose as a friend. Or she just stops calling, and you realize she only needed you to help her carry her baggage to the next stop. Either way, you're left with silence. And the truth, you weren't building a connection. You were just another station on her route. You wanted to be her man. But you became her therapist, her safe space, her emotional garbage can. You taught her you'd always be there, so she never had to be there for you. That's the trap, that's the cost. And by the time you see it, you've already paid too much. It's subtle at first. You tell yourself you're just being polite, just making conversation. You send a message, then another when she doesn't respond. You wait. You wonder what she's doing, who she's with, if she's even thinking about you at all. It gets under your skin. You start checking your phone in meetings, glancing at the screen in the middle of dinner with friends. You feel your mood swing with every buzz and silence. You try to make her laugh. You try to say the right thing. You hold back a joke because you're not sure she'll get it, or you push harder wanting to see that little notification light up. You notice when she's slow to reply. You reread her messages, looking for hidden meaning, for signs she's losing interest, for clues on what you should say next. You start to compliment her more, agree with things you don't really care about, change your plans just to be available. You let her cancel last minute. You laugh at jokes you don't find funny just to keep her smiling. You tell yourself you're being flexible, easygoing, good with women. But you're not. You're just bending yourself out of shape for someone else's approval. The more you chase her, the less she respects you. She might not say it, but she feels it, the way your energy depends on her mood, the way you get quieter when she pulls away, the way you light up just because she looks your way. She tests you, shows up late, cancels, flirts with someone else in front of you. You swallow your pride, pretend not to notice, just so you don't risk losing your spot in her life. You start to doubt yourself. You wonder if you're too much, too needy, too intense. You adjust. You apologize for things you didn't do wrong. You hope that if you just give a little more, she'll finally choose you. But she never does. Because nobody chooses a man who can't choose himself. You start losing your edges. You become smaller, quieter, easier to ignore. You look for her approval like a thirsty man looks for water. And every time you get a sip, it leaves you wanting more. You stop saying what you really think. You stop leading. You start following her plans, her moods, her vision for the night. You trade your confidence for her comfort. You let her moods shape your day. Her opinions change your mind. Her attention decide your worth. You tell yourself, this is just dating now. This is how it works. But deep down, you know it's not right. You know a real man isn't built out of someone else's approval. You can feel your self-respect slipping away day by day, text by text, until you're not sure who you are without her. One day she'll pull away for good. She'll say you're too available or not exciting anymore. She won't say it to hurt you, she just won't feel anything when you're always chasing. You'll be left asking yourself, who was I before I started waiting for her to tell me I mattered? The truth is you already did, long before she ever showed up. But you forgot, and you won't get it back until you stop chasing, stop performing, and remember who you were when your value wasn't up for debate. It sneaks in with good intentions. You tell yourself you're just making an effort. You pick the restaurant you think she'll love, choose the right wine, wear a shirt you never felt comfortable in, all to see if her eyes light up just a little more. You rehearse stories in your head before the date. You find yourself one-upping her anecdotes, talking about places you've traveled, deals you've closed, things you've done, not because they matter, but because you hope they'll matter to her. You plan the night down to the smallest detail, afraid that if anything goes off script, she'll lose interest. You let her set the tone, let her pick the mood, watch her reactions like they're the only scoreboard that counts. You think, if I can just be a little more impressive, maybe she'll choose me. So you show her your best side polish, your words never let your guard down. You keep the conversation on safe topics. You never challenge her, never disagree, never show the parts of yourself that aren't perfectly put together. All you want is to be remembered. All you want is for her to walk away thinking you're special. You pour yourself into the performance, hoping she'll clap at the end. But she never does. She might laugh, she might say she had a good time, she might even thank you for the evening, but something in her eyes says, you're not what she came for. She's been on 100 dates like this. She's met 1,000 men trying to impress her, all running the same playbook. What she hasn't seen, what she's really looking for, is a man who leads. A man who's comfortable in his own skin, who makes decisions without apology, who can say, let's go here, and not second-guess himself. Someone who doesn't need to fill the silence with clever stories, who isn't afraid of a little tension, who knows his worth even when nobody's watching. She feels it. The difference between a man who's always trying to win her and a man who's fine whether he does or not. You notice it too. How tired you feel after trying so hard. How empty the car ride home is, even if the night went well. You start to see it in your own eyes, the hunger, the need, the fear of not being enough. You think you need her applause to be real, but you don't. The truth is, the man she remembers isn't the man who performed the best. It's the man who didn't need to. The man who led quietly, confidently, without trying to prove a thing. That's the man she'll chase long after the show's over. That's the man you promised yourself you'd be before you started trying so hard to impress. And when you finally remember that, when you stop performing and start living, everything else falls into place. You go home after that second date, and suddenly your mind is racing. You picture her in your apartment, her laugh in your kitchen, her name showing up next to yours in your phone like it was meant to be all along. You start replaying her words, wondering what she meant when she asked about your family, when she touched your arm, when she smiled just a little longer than usual. You start telling your friends she's different. You feel hope bubbling up, something you haven't felt in years. It's easy to fall for the idea. You see a version of yourself with her that feels better, happier, lighter, young again. You begin to imagine future trips, her meeting your friends, her sitting across from you at the holidays, her body fitting into the blank spaces in your life. You start making decisions with her in mind. You cancel old plans, change routines, buy groceries you never used to buy. You ignore things you'd never ignore for anyone else. Her lateness, her flakiness, the little white lies she tells when she thinks you're not listening. You start forgiving things you know you shouldn't. You tell yourself, it's early, she'll change. This is what it takes. You ignore red flags and paint them a different color just to keep the dream alive. You start making sacrifices for a relationship that doesn't exist. You skip your gym sessions. You put off important projects. You move your life around for someone who's still just a stranger. You get lost in the possibilities. You stop paying attention to what's real. You miss the small moments when she pulls away, the times she chooses herself over you, the signs that she's not as invested as you are. You start filling in the blanks, imagining conversations you've never had, fights. You think you'll never have memories that only exist in your head. You think you're being optimistic, open-hearted, romantic. But the truth is, you're running from reality. You're in love with the idea of her, not the woman sitting in front of you. She feels it too. She senses the weight of your expectations, the way you look at her like she's the answer to every question you've ever had. It scares her. It makes her pull back even if she doesn't know why. You start to sense the distance, but you tell yourself, just give it time. She'll come around. She has to, but she doesn't. And when it ends, you're not grieving her. You're grieving the future you never had, the story you told yourself to feel alive. You realize you didn't even know her. You just wanted her to fit the empty spaces. You tell yourself you'll never do it again. But the truth is, every man wants the dream more than he wants the truth. It's easier to love an idea than to face the reality of being alone. But you have to. Because only then do you see people as they are, not as you wish they could be. And only then do you keep your feet on the ground while everyone else is chasing ghosts. You can feel it even if you don't want to admit it. You're not her first call unless she's lonely. You're the last-minute dinner when someone else cancels. You're the one she messages late at night when she's bored, the one she leans on when her real plans fall apart. She says you're such a good guy. She tells you she appreciates you, that she doesn't know what she'd do without you. And for a while, those words feel like enough. You're always there, waiting in the wings. You leave your evenings open just in case she wants to see you. You answer her texts the moment they come. You pick her up when she calls, no matter what hour. You drop plans with friends, you reschedule meetings, you rearrange your life around her whims. You tell yourself this is patience, this is loyalty, this is what it takes to win a woman over. But deep down you know the truth. If you were the man she wanted, she wouldn't make you wait. She cancels plans at the last second, blames her job, her mood, her friends, her ex. You forgive her. You're always understanding. You watch her post pictures with other people laughing at jokes you never hear, making memories you're never part of. You start to resent it, but you swallow that feeling. You tell yourself, maybe next time. Maybe if I'm just a little more patient, she'll see what's right in front of her. But the more you wait, the less she notices. The more available you are, the less she values your time. You become the emotional safety net. She trusts you with her worst days, but she celebrates her best days with someone else. You're her backup plan. You're not the prize, you're the insurance policy. There are moments you think about walking away, about saying no, about finally putting yourself first. But you don't. You're scared she'll be gone for good. You're scared of what happens when the phone stops buzzing, when nobody's waiting for your reply. So you stay. You keep hoping. You give more, trying to fill a hole that never gets smaller. She knows you'll always be there. She never has to worry about losing you. She can disappear for days, come back like nothing happened, and you'll welcome her with open arms. But one day she'll really be gone. She'll meet someone who doesn't wait, someone who doesn't always say yes, someone who makes her earn his attention. You'll be left with a calendar full of empty space and the hard truth that you traded your life for someone who only wanted you when there was no one else. You weren't her first choice. You weren't even a choice at all. And you realize being the backup isn't safe. It's just slow-motion heartbreak. You wanted to be her hero, but you ended up just another option in a life where she always got to choose when you mattered. If you don't value your own time, nobody else will. It starts with little things. You skip a workout because she wants to sleep in. You leave work early just to catch her before she goes out. You start saying yes to her schedule, her plans, her way of doing things. You put off the book you were writing. You cancel a guys' night you'd been looking forward to. You scroll your phone waiting for her to decide when you matter. You call it love. You call it making space. But day by day, your own life shrinks. Your goals gather dust. The version of you that felt sharp, motivated, hungry, he goes quiet. You tell yourself this is what it takes. She's worth it. But you start to feel it in your chest, a heaviness that grows as your routine disappears. Your friends notice. They make jokes about how you've gone soft. You laugh it off, but the truth stings. You miss the man you were before you started bending. You miss waking up with a reason that was yours alone. She says she likes that you're so available. She likes that you get her. But slowly she looks at you different. Not with admiration, but with expectation. It's like she's waiting to see how much more you'll give up. You used to have plans. Now you wait for her to make them. You used to have boundaries. Now you apologize for having needs. Your mission, the thing that made you magnetic, gets lost in the shuffle. You used to lead, now you follow. She starts to test it, pushing to see if there's anything you won't trade for her comfort. You start missing the days when you had non-negotiables, when your schedule was yours, when your priorities came first. But you can't bring yourself to pull back. You're scared you'll lose her. You think if I just give a little more, maybe she'll finally feel safe. But the opposite happens. The more you bend, the less she respects you. She might not even know why she's pulling away. She just knows the man she was drawn to, the man who had his own path, isn't there anymore. You find yourself stuck in a holding pattern, waiting for permission to chase your goals, hoping she'll be the one to say, you should get back to your life. But she never will, because nobody wants to be with someone who gave up everything for them. Your purpose is what makes you valuable. Your mission is what makes you strong. Without it, you're just a passenger in your own life, in her story. You start to resent her, but it's not her fault. It's yours. You gave up your edge. You abandoned the fire that made you you. Maybe she stays, Maybe she leaves. Either way, you're left with the same question: who are you without her? If you're honest, you barely remember. The hardest part isn't losing the girl. It's realizing you lost yourself and the quiet fear that you might never get him back. You wanted to be chosen, but you forgot to choose yourself. You don't notice it right away. She gets moody, distant one day, warm one day, cold. You start adjusting, changing your tone, your words, your schedule just to avoid a fight, just to keep the peace. She tests boundaries, says things to see if you'll react. Sometimes she pulls back just to see if you'll chase. You always do. You start to question yourself. You wonder if you're too much, too boring, too demanding. You start to silence your own needs because hers always feel bigger in the moment. Your moods become tied to hers. If she's happy, you're alive. If she's distant, you're restless. You're always on edge, waiting for her next move, trying to read her like a weather report. You apologize for things that aren't your fault. You tiptoe around topics that matter to you. You say yes when you want to say no. You avoid conflict even when you know you're right. You lose yourself in her emotions. You tell yourself you're just being supportive. But really, you're afraid of rocking the boat. It gets harder to say what you think. You hold back honesty, hold back frustration, just to keep things smooth. She feels it too. She knows she can push you and you'll bend. She knows you won't walk away no matter how many times she pulls back. But here's what you don't see. You're not making her feel safe. You're making her feel in control. And there's a difference. You stop standing your ground. You start living in reaction, never in intention. Every argument, every silent treatment becomes a test you're desperate to pass. You lose track of what you want. You forget what it feels like to be steady, to be the anchor in the storm, not just another leaf blown by the wind. She loses respect. You lose self-respect. She starts to see you as someone she can move at will, never a man she has to meet halfway. You want to get back to that place where your center isn't up for negotiation, where her storms don't throw you off course. But the longer you stay lost in her moods, the further away that man feels. You think you're keeping her close, but all you're doing is losing your own gravity. The only way to win her respect is to stop chasing her approval. Stop adjusting to every swing in her feelings. Start holding your line, even if it means she walks away. Because the man she truly wants is the one who doesn't bend every time she tests the ground beneath him. And the man you want to be is the one who can stand in his truth, even if it means standing alone. You think effort will tip the scales? You pay for every dinner, pick up her favorite snacks, send her little gifts, always looking for ways to show you care. You tell yourself it's just being generous. You want to stand out. You want her to feel special. You offer favors, helping her move, fixing her car, solving problems she hasn't even asked you to solve. You tell yourself it's natural that this is what a good man does. But deep down, you're hoping all this effort will make her see you choose, you want you. You keep score, even if you don't admit it. You notice how rarely she returns the favor, how often she forgets to say thank you, how easily she expects you to always say yes. You get that sinking feeling in your gut, you're being used, but you push it away. She might post about how nice you are. She might brag to her friends about how well you treat her. But when it's time to choose, she never chooses you. Because she never had to earn anything. You made yourself easy. You made your energy, your time, your attention cost nothing. She comes and goes as she pleases, knowing you'll always be there ready to give more. The dinners get more expensive. The gifts get bigger. The time you invest keeps growing. But her interest never does. You start to resent it. You feel the weight of every yes you wanted to say no to. You wonder why she never calls you first, why she never reaches for her wallet, why she never plans anything for you. You realize you've been trying to buy her attention not because you wanted to, but because you didn't believe you were enough on your own. You wanted to earn her. But the truth is, you just wanted to be valued. And now you're broke. Not just in your bank account, but in your spirit. The more you give, the less she gives back. You start to notice she doesn't light up when she sees you. She looks at you like a convenience, a reliable option. never the adventure. You think maybe if you give a little more, if you outdo every man she's ever met, she'll finally choose you. But she never will. Because you taught her you're always available, always willing, always trying. You can't buy real connection. You can't purchase desire. You can only show up as yourself and let her decide if that's enough. And if it isn't, it's better to know now than to spend years trying to pay your way into a heart that was never open in the first place. So that's it. 10 mistakes, 10 ways men lose themselves, one silent step at a time. You think you're just adapting, just giving a little, just being open. But somewhere along the way, you stop living for yourself. If this hit home, don't just scroll away. Drop a comment, tell me where you see yourself in this. Don't lie to yourself. Every man at some point faces these crossroads. If you want more of this kind of truth, no sugarcoating, no fake promises. Hit that like button, subscribe, and share this video with a friend who needs to wake up. The world is loud with advice, but the truth is usually quiet, and sometimes it hurts. But that's how you know it's real. You don't need to be anyone's backup plan. You don't need to chase what won't stand still for you. Stay on your path, hold your ground. If she wants to walk beside you, she will. Thanks for watching, and remember, this channel is for men who refuse to disappear. If you're done performing, ready to start living again, join us. Subscribe, like, comment. Let's bring real men back to the front. I'll see you in the next one.